Welcome back. This is James Duerr, your host of the James Duerr Show and the 7 Steps to Financial Success. I have an excellent guest today. One of the things that true and dear to my heart, because I love community colleges and what community colleges does for our youth and our re-education of people who maybe not so youthful. But community colleges are the lifeblood of any community. As a former board of regent for Del Mar College down in Corpus, I know how important community colleges are, and we're really privileged today to have Robert McKinley, who's Vice Chancellor at the Alamo Colleges. Welcome.
James, glad to be here, and hello to all the audience out there, and I look forward to visiting with you in the time we have about community college and what it means for you, your families, and for this community.
Yeah, and we were talking off air before. I'm a product myself of the community colleges. When I was to tell you the long story short, hopefully, is when I was in high school, I wanted to be a marine biologist. So my sister worked for the Sea Grant program, and I called her up and asked her about jobs, and she says, there's no jobs in that. And this is back in 1979. So I quickly had to change, and I didn't have any really didn't have really physics. I had some physics, but I didn't have advanced math. I didn't have calculus. I didn't have anything because I was going to be a marine biologist, not an engineer. But so I decided to go in engineering, go to Texas A&M University. So I went to my community college, and I took summer courses, and pretty intense summer courses. And I got my physics, I got my geometry, got my trigonometry, got my high school college physics. I got all the excellent education from community colleges, very low cost.
Covered your core.
Covered it, and it allowed me to go to Texas A&M and be on the dean's list for the first year.
Well, there you go. That's the kind of story we want to replicate. It's been successful for you, but let's do that by thousands and thousands, and think what a difference that'll make for our area here.
And not everybody needs to have a 4-year college.
Not necessarily. There's a lot of what we call middle skill jobs and shorter path. A lot of individuals, and just like you described, we have a saying, we have to meet people where they're at. What is their life circumstance? And many need to earn to learn. So maybe they need a shorter path with a certificate or an associate's degree, then ultimately can transfer and get a bachelor's. And what is your passion and what's your skill set as an individual? And you know, with youth, it's sometimes they're decided, and a lot of times they're not sure. They want to try one thing, try another. Many times they don't know the pathway forward.
So what do they do? What are our listeners out there in the San Antonio area and greater area, if they're interested in finding out opportunities for education through the community colleges? What's their first step?
Well, to contact us, in many cases, it's through your high school counselor and advisor, and of course, Alamo Colleges is embedded within all the ISDs, so they are fully aware of all our different programs, and it's really looking at the students' goals in life and what their records are, and kind of what their aptitude. Are they good in math? Are they good in relationships, perhaps sales, if they're good in verbal skills, like you are, obviously, in your job?
Not really.
And then, how does that turn into a career? So we have a online tool called Career Coach, which helps them start picking, if I want to be a, radio producer, or if I want to open my own business, if I want to become a technician in the energy field. What are the different career paths available? What do you need to get there? What's your goals in your life? What do they pay? Where are the jobs at? So it helps you sort through those different paths and choose a pathway. And then consider your individual circumstances. What's the affordability? What's your time schedule? Are you working and studying, or just going straight through your studies? The life plan and your career plan have to overlap, and we understand that. So really getting with one of our advisors to help make those decisions, and then we can help you with the enrollment and get started from there.
And what I always tell my clients and my listeners on the James Duerr Show and the 7 Steps is you need to take the experience that I have over the years and the experience of my colleagues that we can have them sit down with and learn all the financial steps to success. That's what they need to do. They should explore what's out there. They need to take that small 1 hour to go to the Alamo College representative at their high school and find out. And people who are, what if I don't think I can afford college? there's something called Alamo Promise?
Exactly. This is a game-changing new policy that our Board of Trustees and our Chancellor Mike Flores have launched. Actually, it's very timely as of October 2nd, which was just last week. And we've been working on this, and this comes really in a business sense from understanding your customer. When you look in San Antonio, we have a high poverty rate. Actually, the census just came out, and this is not a point of pride. We are the most economically segregated and highest poverty major city in the United States. We were recently number 2 behind Detroit. Now we are number 1 at 20% poverty. Wow. That is not a point of pride. And it's odd because on a macroeconomic level, San Antonio overall is doing well economically. So at the same time, we're doing so well economically that the unemployment rate is at a record low in the 2.8 range right now. That's a historic low. That means labor is very tight. Yet we have a large population that's on the sidelines because they have not had a chance to get trained up. So the reason we are unable to grow farther in San Antonio is because of lack of a qualified workforce. That doesn't mean we have enough bodies.
Right.
And being in a high economy, our businesses have great opportunities to sell more and produce more, but they're lacking talent. So what do? Right now, we are importing from outside of the market. We're importing teachers. We're importing healthcare workers. We're importing IT workers. We are importing manufacturer workers.
That's just terrible.
And
we have all the resources. We have the human capital here.
Right here.
We talk about human capital every show.
It's the difference maker. And what I like, it's a difference maker for the individual that gets trained up, because if you get a community college degree, you're going to earn on average close to $10,000 more a year, $500,000 more in your lifetime. So you talk about financial success. That is a huge difference maker. And the investment is really your time and effort on the early stage. Yes, it costs some to go to college, but to your point, what we learn from our customers, being the students, when we have stop outs, usually life got in the way. It was that car breakdown. One of their family members got sick. They had unanticipated bills, and they had to take on a second job, and they just had to drop out.
Okay, so tell us about tuition-free programs.
Tuition-free is to the student. Actually, it's what we call a last dollar scholarship. And here's how this works. Most every student, we're open enrollment, and every student comes in and they apply under their free financial aid application, the FAFSA, and that determines how much they're eligible for a Pell Grant and other financial aid.
Right.
So if the Pell's covering 70% and their remaining gap is 30%, we are coming up with a Promise Scholarship, which is the last dollar to cover that gap. The gap may be different for every student.
Do they need to pay that back ever?
No.
Wow. So your Pell Grants, as our audience may not know, is a government program that actually grants you, gives you money for college.
Correct. And
that's an investment in our community. I've always been, I'm pretty conservative financially, fiscally, but I believe in like you said, we have so many people here in San Antonio area that aren't working because they just don't have that knowledge. And what you're saying is it's not going to cost them 1 red cent to get that knowledge. They just have to have the drive and the determination. They're going to apply for Pell Grants, which is the government gives them money, because they know that it's a lot cheaper in the long run for them to be earning and paying taxes than them to not be working.
Yeah,
so we want them to be working. They do the Pell Grants, and Alamo College is going to come up with the rest of the money for the tuition. That's amazing.
That's correct. And so we're just rolling this out. We're doing it in 2 phases. And this will be for all Bexar County Public ISD graduates, and they're about 17,000 a year. The first phase is going to be for 25 ISDs, or high schools, that graduate about 10,000 a year. We are having events that are called Save Your Seat for College. And we're going to the high schools and having the rallies and rolling this out, and students are pledging online to come in and save their seat. At that point, we engage them, as we discussed before, with the advisor and the career navigator, so they can come through that discernment. And then we test them and see if there's any remediation that they might need, if they're a little bit behind on math or English. We have a summer bridge and a boot camp that happens over summer. We're concerned about summer melt, which you might understand. You know, you get excited, you graduate, and you kind of forget everything before you start again in September. We want to keep the students engaged. So we are recruiting now this fall and then in spring for the applications. They would start the first cohort over summer, the Summer Bridge program, and then start next fall. Then we will start phase 2 for the rest of the San Antonio area high schools as well.
Okay, great. So if you're in Bexar County ISD, you're eligible, period.
Yes.
And how long is this funding going to last for?
We really want to put this in for perpetuity.
Okay. But we know we have it now. So if you're out there, you want to take advantage of this free money right now.
That's right. And you can go to the website alamo.edu/promise, and that'll identify the first 25 high schools. And I don't want to read them all here online. That'll take a while, but you can identify the first 25 high schools, and again, talk to your advisor. But there's full information on how to make your save the seat and get involved in this.
Okay, and it's something that you can do at your own speed. A lot of it. I mean, even if you don't get full funding, you can work and take your classes. I know I worked my way through college, and
correct.
And you know, what percentage of your students work?
80% of our students work.
There you go.
And many of them work, many jobs. I want to emphasize, this is really not a handout. As you emphasize, it's an investment.
Yeah,
it's an investment in future talent. Let me explain this, since I'm more from the economic development side. There's obvious benefits to the individual students because they get their degree. They can either get a certificate, which might be 1 semester or 2 semesters, and then they can go right into work and get paid better, but then they can go on to an associate's degree. Also, if you get your associate's degree, many of our students, about 40% of them, transfer and go on to their bachelor's degree, but they've got the first 2 years of college under promise, basically free.
There you go. Well, we're getting up to a hard stop in about 45 seconds here. You can find out all about Alamo Promise at alamo.edu/promise. And this is a heck of a deal. If you're out there, you're a Bexar County ISD high schooler, you need to take advantage of this. And we need a community to help get the awareness out about this. If you know somebody, your neighbor, your son, your daughter, just make sure they take advantage of this, because this is a difference between, getting a job or not getting a job. And we're going to talk all about that and the percentages of people who get jobs when they have a community college degree. So stay tuned. We'll be back with Alamo Colleges right after the break.